should give us a good view. I have had the shakiest hands, I swear. There goes the ads. Because why start a live stream without having ads? I've noticed that on other channels too. There's a bunch of ads that come at the beginning all the time. Good morning, Jackie. Jackie, are you loving this cooler weather? I just closed my window. I've had it open all morning. I'm loving this cooler weather. Look, guys, I'm semi-prepared today. I actually got up early enough. I was up by 6:30, and I am prepared. Well, so to speak. You know how it is. It's always something that's going to change. Yeah, it's been really nice. Excuse me while I reach in front of everybody. I don't know if you can see me or not. I want to bring over the iron. I think we have enough room. We have our cutting space, our ironing space, our sewing space. We should be good. Sometimes I swear I need like 3 tables even when it's not a live stream, just because everything just takes up so much space. The rain kept getting pushed back and pushed back. Last I saw here in this area, I guess it's supposed to be 4 p.m. It was supposed to be yesterday and then now 4. And lots of rain this week, of course, before the cold weather comes through. I have the tree trunks right here. I have all of my tree blocks spaced. While we're waiting for everyone to come in, I'm just going to sit here and chain piece all of these little bits while we get prepared. Then I'll go over all of the different things like block sizes and all of that. This is a fun project. Once it's all prepped, I think I have 36 blocks prepared. Hi, Kathy. Right? I am not complaining about the rain. I am so looking forward to it. I say it all the time, but in case people don't know, I have my bedroom back here it's a studio here and a bedroom all in one area. It's just, I don't know why the master bedroom is huge, but I'm appreciating it. But anyways, we have the roof of the house goes right over the back patio area. So it's a roof on the cement patio. And I don't know, maybe it's 6 feet wide. So the rain won't come in. So I'll be able to leave my window open and listen to the rain and just enjoy it, so that next week I can go out and pull all the weeds, right? My winter grass is coming in nicely. We do run the sprinklers. I have them set for 3 times a day. It's not raising our water bill, and I'm not taking the chance of having to redo the yard again. It's just that small patch in the front, but it's fun. If it was in the backyard, I don't know what I'd plant. Maybe a whole bunch of flowers or something versus grass. But the winter rye is coming up nicely. I'm going to enjoy the rain. I love listening to the rain. It doesn't rain hard enough here at this location. I know in Phoenix and stuff, and in Tucson and other areas of Arizona get downpour, torrential, microburst crazy weather, but at this house, if it rains as a downpour, it might be 5 minutes. We did have one day this year when it like rained all day on and off. It was great. I just can't hear it when I'm sleeping. It's so relaxing to listen to the rain. I think I'm going to have to get a sound box here, you know, a little sound machine, and just have it play rain for me periodically just to enjoy it. Yeah, tonight through Wednesday night, it'll be nice. When we were in Florida, I was really curious to how you can have 1 inch of rain and have these massive floods that I see. I can understand it a little bit more now, but it's still crazy. The side yard by the kitchen is lower, and that floods a lot. The backyard You know, everything's slant. It's okay. Here it's really weird because in Florida you slant everything away from the house, but when I'm looking out the window here, the furthest part by the wall is higher than the house. And I guess it's just because of the way the rain is. I mean, the fact that it doesn't rain very much. Whew, I'm having a hot flash. I'm gonna have to open that window back up. Hold on. I have to take off one of the microphone cords to be able to do it. Just give me a second. Thank you for your patience. We still have the AC on, and again, since it's right outside my window, I'll have to get up again and shut the window if it kicks on. But it's just, I mean, it's 73 in here, but I just, whew, God, all of a sudden it got really hot, so we'll just run like this. Right, I did notice when we first got here, of course, now Florida has the ditches on the side of the road too. They're just more, it's like a canal almost. The side of the road, like when you see a lot going, for you guys know the surprise area, when you're going down Grand and it's got those big ditches, they're similar to that, a little bit smaller in most places. We have retention ponds in Florida in like areas where there's condos and stuff and shopping plazas. But I've noticed here there's like retention areas everywhere, but a lot of places utilize them for playgrounds. I noticed in this HOA that it's a dip down, but it's set up with a playground, so they utilize it as a playground when it doesn't rain, and then when it rains, it catches all the water. So it's kind of interesting to learn different areas. That's why I like to show you guys when I think about it, and excuse me, and I can do it when I go out. Because if you're in a different area, I would have loved to have seen people just going around Arizona. It wasn't on my bingo card, so I never really looked too much, just to see how different the neighborhoods and such are. Either way, I'm just looking forward to that rain. It's going to be nice. It helps. I have a doctor's appointment on Tuesday, and then I'll have to run some errands. But other than that, I can just stay home and sew and hopefully hear some rain. I have most of my winter clothes all set. I think I'm just going to get some sweatpants and then some type of, I don't want leggings, but I want something besides jeans that are kind of comfortable to lounge around the house and sew and stuff. That's not like jeans. In Florida, we just wore jeans because we didn't wear them that often. In Southwest Florida, Northern Florida, it gets cold. My oldest, Justin, where he works, they have like an empty field next to it where the employees park, and it's just a dirt lot. The company doesn't even own it. They just, they park out in a field, and that's gonna flood because as you drive constantly, it makes those ruts and stuff. So that's gonna be interesting for him. I put a link in the description box for the video for these trees. And as we get going, I will go ahead and just ramble about the numbers that I'm using. I was so well set up that, how far can my leash go? Whoops. That I even worked on some coasters today. I wanted to take some of the layer cakes that Missouri Star has sent me and stuff, and I've just been I made a bunch of these 9 patches for coasters. I cut them all last night that have the white, And then I had some extra pieces, so I cut that. And then out of the same fabric, I decided to make some 4 patches because not everyone wants all the crazy fabrics. And then out of a different layer cake, I went ahead and cut these. And then I have a bunch of 9 patches. I have, I don't know, 5, 6 of them in there. As you can see, they're all laid out nice and neat. I clipped them together in hopes that, excuse me for a second, in hopes that they'll all stay together. And then I'll have to cut out batting and backings and all of that. I had all of my pieces in here for the trees. And then about 15 minutes before I came on, I started cutting off the bottom pieces. So these are what we're working on today. Put this back in my pocket. Hi, Giovanna. I'm glad you made it. Woohoo. We are sewing a winter forest. I tried to be careful during the last live stream when I was cutting the fabrics to get everybody to be directional in the right direction and make sure everything was going well. And I don't know why I even bother, because like this is the way this sits as a tree. This is the way it sits as a pattern. So I cut several of them that way. Oh, maybe I'm just, okay, maybe I have them laying the wrong way. I don't know. I know Rudolph, this one's good. But then like this one is sideways. It's whatever. It's going to hang up on the wall and it's going to be fine. Hi, Janice. Yeah, I heard you guys, you had cold weather in Iowa, up in the northern part at least. And then I heard it was going to be like in the 50s and stuff. Now, I kind of know where Davenport is because that's where my daughter worked for several months when she was traveling. I learned a lot of things. I saw a lot of different places when she was traveling. She sent me different pictures and stuff like that. And things everywhere. It's just so different going from spot to spot. Oh, heat press. Yeah, that's on my eventually list. All right, Giovanna. We won't worry if you disappear then. Thank you for letting us know. When it gets to the point that I really need a heat press and it's not just a fun want, then I'll start looking at them and watching for sales and stuff. We don't always need all of the latest gadgets just because they exist. We just sometimes, I mean, things make, it's a rotary cutter and a ruler makes sense to purchase them, but you can make things without them. And a heat press, you know, for what I'm doing, it still works fine. But if you have one, I think it's a great thing. Actually, for the ones I've seen, if I told my daughter that that's what I wanted for Christmas, because I know what her Christmas budget is for me, she would be like, go ahead, pick out the one you want. But it's not high on my list. Right now, what's high on my list is new earbuds. So I call them headphones, but they don't go over my head. I like the ones that go around your ear, but not in your ear. And I bought really cheap ones this time last year, and they're lasting me a year. But the more I use them, the quieter they get. So I can usually get away with just having one in my left ear, which is my good ear. Now I have to have the volume all the way up and have them in both ears. And I thought maybe my ears were plugged or something, but just to listen to things without whatever in, then I can hear perfectly fine. So I know it's not me. It's what I get for spending $15 and $20 for earphones. Yeah, for the shirts. Yeah. When I get to the point where I wanted, like I said in one of the recent videos, tote bags, and if I want to do like t-shirt stuff and all that, then of course it'll do better to have the heat press for those. I'd like to, if I were to design the iron-on things for t-shirts, I would rather just sell the iron-on and then let you guys put it on whatever shirt or product you want. That way I wouldn't have to stock the clothing and you wouldn't have to decide on a certain shirt based on what I provide. You can use your favorite, right? So what if you want like a $5 t-shirt or a $50 t-shirt, you could decide that yourself and it would make it cheaper. But I would like to get the smaller ones to put on tote bags, like the quilted ones and the canvas ones, to put on zipper pouches and stuff like that. Earbuds. Yeah, Giovanna, that just doesn't stay in my head for some reason. Yeah, it's much cheaper to mail. And I've seen people, I watch Passionate Kelsey. She does like a knitting and mostly crochet show. She has almost, I think she's at like 750,000 subscribers, so she's pretty popular. And she's just starting to do merchandise and she's doing it in the colors that she likes. And I totally understand that, because if I were to do merchandise, I would want bright colors. So she's using like olive and greens and stuff. And the earth tone like that it's just not my favorite. But if you like the design and you really want something, then you don't have a choice, right? You have to just choose that color. I am not going to have enough of this brown unless I hunt for it for trees. I just have a few more left to sew and then we'll start cutting up our trees. Yeah, I'm not much into the green and stuff. And with the, I think it's called DTV or something like that, where it's just the decal that comes on like these crinkly plastic rolls and stuff. Even Giovanna can order one and have it shipped to her country, because you could put it in a thin envelope and it wouldn't cost a lot. But if I were to put it on a shirt and Giovanna just fell in love with that design and just had to have my flamingo, it would cost a lot of money for her. It would cost more to ship than the item. So I think I try to live in an economical world, and I would expect other people to kind of want everyone else to, be the same thing like that, right? All right, I'm going to say the steel lover is Gwen. Yes, see, I got it. You're Gwen. Hi, Gwen. It just takes me a few times of seeing it. I do have my notebook. You can see it right there behind the wooden pineapple, propped up for my cheat sheets in case I need it. Hello to all of my lurkers. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and just listening to me ramble while we sew. The link to the original tree video for this is in the description box, so if you want to go and check it out afterwards. Exactly. And if it's a small decal and it fits in a regular US size envelope like my postcards, I can send a postcard to Giovanna for, I don't know what the stamps cost right now, but they're like $1.50. So let's include the cost of the envelope. We'll just round it up. So for $2, if I had a small enough decal that's less than 4 by 6, Giovanna could order it and then be like, oh, cool, I got something from Robin's channel, something from the US, and not have to pay an arm and a leg. And you can just put it on with a regular iron. Hi, Mary. I usually start about 10 minutes to 11. It is 11 a.m. here in Arizona, so technically not early, but I do like to start 10 minutes early, just to make sure that everyone starts coming in. I'm just rambling now, so if you missed the ramble and you want to hear it, you can always go back and catch the ramble after the live stream. You're only missing like 20 minutes of it, if that. And then I'm just sewing my trunks right now. I'm sewing this piece to this piece. I only have one more left after this, and then we'll start cutting some trees. I don't want to do too much until everyone starts coming in, and then usually about 5 or 10 minutes after 11, and I see the numbers just kind of level off, and then we go. Oh, I appreciate that, Giovanna. I'm trying to find that balance so that the rambling lovers get that, and those that just want me to shut up and get on with things, they get that. Okay, So I think in order not to lose any of these pieces, I'm going to leave this, well, I probably shouldn't, it's really long. And I really love cutting it apart with my little cutter, so I think I'll do that. But I will move all of these pieces up here. So you see how many I still have left. Like I said, I think I'm going to get 36 blocks, but maybe I'm going to get 72. You know me in quilt math. Yeah, I've done trees a few times, but I've always just wanted to do the Christmas one, and I want an autumnal one with bright colors, and one for Halloween. So just a little bit of everything. Giovanna's already made some trees. I've seen a lot of the trees and people made from, like, using my video over on Instagram. Obviously, I'm not the only person that does, I'm not the only person that does this, and it wasn't like my original idea. It's really just a stack and whack pattern, meaning you stack your fabric together and you whack it off, and then you kind of like shuffle your fabrics, and then you end up with new blocks. So here is all of those pieces. They can go there. We can stop to hydrate. I appreciate that, Mary. Yeah, see, rambling works pretty good. So some people are like, okay, I know we don't have many people in the live stream. We have, I don't want to say only 24, but we have 24 people that says it on YouTube. When I stop, that number is generally around 300 or 400. So I don't know if I just need to refresh it or it's counting differently or something. Like people live right this very second. And then there's other people that have started the live stream at the beginning and they're like 20 minutes behind us. So I won't see those numbers. So we get about 300 people. Mostly there's 25 to 35, whatever, people chatting. But then there's, in the live portion of it, I'm going to confuse myself, my apologies. And then I like it because there's not too many people in the chat and you all can keep up with it. Everyone else is just listening to the rambling while they're doing their work. Hi, Tiny Talkie Tina. That's a perfect name. So do you like to ramble like I do? Xmas cards, and you can also, depending on the size, you can make an ornament, you can make a tag. This can be done in so many different ways. In the tutorial link down below in the description box, I think I used a layer cake, a 10-inch square, and a 5-inch charm square. Now today I cut my fabrics for this during the recent live stream, 4.5 inches wide and 6.5 inches tall. I'm taking 1.5 inches off the bottom, and my tree trunk is, look, I remembered that word, is 1 inch wide. Yeah, there's so many uses for it. I really want to get my wonky house quilt put together, but Giovanna already knows that I make a lot of quilt tops and I don't actually put them together. So, yeah, I have a wonky house, a wonky tree, and there's wonky stars we did as a group swap and sew along one year. Like, I don't know, 2011, 2012, maybe 2015. Mug rugs, yep, you can put this, you know how sometimes the mug rugs have the fabric over here, a design, and then they have the spot for you to put your mugs, so you can do that. Now remember, if you're going to do it the way that I'm going to show today, you're going to get 2 mirror images or reverse images. Don't yell at me for my non-technical abilities here. You can still just cut. So I was thinking, like, I might just cut these. I figured out I made these practice to figure out my measurements and where I want to cut them. So I can also mix and match. I don't have to do opposites like that. Mine are together, Giovanna. I at least get them to a quilt top before I stop because I enjoy the process. I'm a topper, I was told. I enjoy the process of making a quilt top, But living in Florida, I had one quilt. It's the same quilt that's on my bed now. I would like to get my log cabins done before the winter's over, but let's face it, I probably won't. To the point, I enjoyed it. I don't need the quilt, so I move on to the next quilt top. That's why making small projects I'm good at, because Tina likes wonky. Oh, thank you. Where am I? Oh, you're just telling me. I love wonky, Tina. I love wonky because you know why? The love of wonky came from the fact that I can't do anything straight. My grandma always said that I can't draw a straight line with a ruler, and I did take a drafting class in high school, so now I can draw a straight line without a ruler, but I can't sew straight. And you know what? I'm going to embrace the wonky and just go with that. So I want to make sure that this is the 4.5 wide. I went through and I sorted them all by color last night, and I paired them up, and then I made them all like that, and then I shoved them in a pile. So even if I don't get them exactly right, they're at least mixed up. I wanted to make sure because I had 2/3 of them, or a good third of them were red. So I wanted to make sure everyone got mixed up nicely. I think I said hello to my lurkers, and if anyone starts coming into the chat and says hello, and everyone starts, like, you're in the middle of other people chatting, or people are doing their trees or working on dishes or whatever, cooking lunch, please don't feel upset if not everyone says hi to you right away. You might have to say it 2 or 3 times, just because either the chat's going too fast or people have looked away from their computers. We don't do it to be mean, and we want everyone to feel included. So just put it in all caps the 3rd time and just scream at us, and someone will catch in and say hi, because sometimes we just miss. So I apologize for my hands today and for any missing. I think I want to cut 6 blocks at a time, because I got my big bad boy, whatever this is. How can I not remember? Is this, I want to say it's a 68. That's not it. You guys will tell me. But I have the small 45, 60 degree rotary cutter. So I know I can comfortably do 6, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I can always mix and match and stuff. Make small tree quilt wall hanging like 5 going. That's my plan. My plan was to do 25, but I cut up enough. I was hoping to get enough to make 2, but I cut up enough so that I could have a 5 by 5, even though mine are long. And I'm trying to decide afterwards if I want them to sit like this, or if I want them to sit, so that they're offset. And I'll make that decision once all the blocks are done. I like the ones that are offset, so you don't have to make sure everything's lined up exactly right and all that. And I just like the look. I did it once with my patrons following someone else's pattern, and I thought it was really fun. But thank you. I really appreciate any tips that you guys want to pop in. See, well, this one's not directional. It just looks like they're all going one way. So if I keep everyone lined up and I don't let spittle from my face, I should be able to interchange at least these if I want. Most of the houses are this way, so I just took it from this and spun it around. So my plan, so I took off 1.5 inches for this. My tree trunk is 1 inch wide and 1.5 inches tall. I took the 1.5 inches off the bottom of my stack, and I cut them all in half. If you're doing this scrappy, you can measure it out perfectly, and this will be like 2 by 1.5 and 2 by 1.5. Thereabouts. I trimmed mine up. Yeah, why worry about the matching seams? The gnome fabric is so much fun. I love gnomes, but I don't say it out loud too much because I don't want my children to go crazy and get me gnomes or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over, let me see if I wrote it down. Gosh darn it. I really thought, you think like the last night, you're like, I'm going to remember that. I think I went over 1/2 inch. I don't think I went over a full inch. Gosh darn it. All right, let's make one. Kids get, oh no, gnome fabric is really cool. 100% real, Mary, that's just how it is, because you know what? I can't lie, and I mean, I could say, Giovanna, oh, I love the quilt you made, Giovanna, the way you matched your colors and everything. I've got an ad. I can say, you know, your hairstyle looks really great on you. I don't have to like it. I don't consider that a lie. So I don't phrase it like, oh, Giovanna, you look amazing. You're so gorgeous, Marilyn Monroe. Giovanna knows that I can pick on her. Her and Jody don't mind if I use them as examples. But I can't, you know, I can't just lie to someone. It's just so wrong, right? I think I went a 1/2 inch over and 2 inches up. So let's make one at a 1/2 inch over and 2 inches up. But I feel like I did an inch. I did an inch because I wanted it to be skinny. So let's just go crazy. And if we have issues, it's not going to matter. They're all going to be the same. I'm going to go over. Your hair's a mess. Mine is too. I'm letting it grow out so I can have a longer haircut in the winter. Plus the last lady really kind of jacked it up a little bit. Ugh. I'm going to go 1 inch over, and I'm going to go to the 2 inch, 2 1/4, because that's halfway. Because if it's 4 1/2, 2 1/4 is halfway. I have it lined up on my mat. And it doesn't matter if the lines on my mat aren't perfect. And this is even a good brand. What is this? This is a Fiskars, but the lines are a little bit off. They were printed a little bit off. But if everything's a little bit off, then it doesn't really matter. You can do this any way you want. Just remember, you're going to need a 1/4 inch seam when you sew these together and everything like that. So you want to leave it so you're not going to lose it. Now, I did a lot of talking in the video tutorial, and I gave some tips and tricks, and I think that's like 3, 4, 5 years old now. So I have learned some more. So here we go. I thought maybe to like make a template, put, you know, washi tape on the ruler and everything. But really what it comes down to is it's just easier to do this than to try to create all those things. So if you're coming up with some weird numbers, just write them down. And if you want your tree to look different, so every tree in the forest looks different, then you can just do whatever measurements you want. But I kind of wanted my winter Christmas forest to look good. Now my Halloween one, I will probably make those short and tall and fat and skinny and all different kinds of trees. So I have, what did we do? We stacked 6. So I'm going to put my, this is Missouri Star, so I already tightened it today, but I will make sure. Now see this? That's the ball bearings in there, and that's what makes it glide so smoothly and easily. Yeah, I'll get it much shorter, but I like to have a little hair on the back of my neck and just a little bit longer. Even without the blocks being the same size, Giovanna, we'll do a Halloween one, and we can do that in February if we want. And I'll show you in any kind of thing, log cabin blocks or whatever, we can make them different sizes. Just like my community quilt here, we did go with mostly the same sizes, but by adding the extra strips on the top and bottom, if you at least keep them all the same width, it will make your life easier, but you can go a little crazy there too. So like this tree could be shorter, and then maybe I'll have different, for this, if I want to, you know, step it down, I'll get some of these same fabrics out of my scrap bin and I'll add them in there just to fill it in, but I wouldn't use the same fabrics that I already saw. Oh, yeah, yeah. All right, so I'm going to push down and roll backwards so I'm not forcing my fabric. And then that gives me that. And I'll just slide it over. And then I'll come to this side and I'll slide this over to the line on my mat. And I want to go 1 inch. Now these, It looked to be about 1.5 inches down. I don't know that I actually measured specifically where I was going to put it. So I think for this, I'll just put it 1 inch down because I know I end up trimming these down to 3.5 by 5.5. We'll make 2 trees before we start sewing a bunch of them, right? Hi, Susan. I'm sorry. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But you have the video that you can go to. Just to be honest, I struggle with cutting and talking at the same time. And if you've been here for a while, you know there's going to be talking. But that's why I like to put the link to the tutorial. Okay, now if you're doing a normal stack and whack, you'll take this tree and put it on the bottom of the pile. And that will give you all different ones as you go through. If you're just doing 2, then you just flip the 2 into 2 different positions. But this way, I won't have a whole bunch of twins. I'll have different trees. Now, this is the part that I struggle at, and if you're better at quilting than I am and you don't make things up as you go, first we want to take and sew the second seam. We're going to go backwards. So we're going to sew this seam, and then we'll sew this seam, and then we'll add this down. Now, I will go through and look for the blue trees to put on the bottom because I do want that look. I don't want it to be different. I want a full background like that. Okay? That makes sense. So we'll take this. Now, you're supposed to... Let me come over. I don't have the fancy drop down one for you to see from, so I have to go over here where the floor wobbles. Now when you do this, you're supposed to line it up so that there's 1/4 inch that sticks out, sticks out on one side. So like this would slide up a little, so there would be 1/4 inch there, and then the tree would stick out 1/4 inch. It's one way or the other. I may have it wrong, but I'm telling you guys that I don't know this. If you line it up equally and you sew your 1/4 inch, you will end up having like excess pieces there and there. What I do is I just kind of move it around a little bit. I can never really tell the 1/4 inch, and I kind of look at it and see where it's going to line up and be nice and even. So it looks like I need to have the background 1/4 inch and then the tree sticking off the bottom, and that should give me what I'm looking for. I'm making mine a little bit larger and trimming them down. That way I don't have to worry about it, right? All right, Giovanna, drive safe. Okay, 1/4 inch seam. I have a piece of scrap fabric that is there in the beginning. I like to do, even though I've made dozens of these, I like to make a practice block first. This time I did make it in this fabric, but you can make it in any fabric, and then you can put these two together and make a little mug rug or something like that, maybe a border around it if you want it larger. You can turn it into a hot pad or something, so you have your practice block before you cut everything, and then you can figure out exactly how you need to sew it. I am not proficient in everything. I struggle with stuff just like we all do. So if you need to know how to sew this specifically, you can learn on how to sew triangles in and stuff like that. Diary of a Quilter does show how to overlap it. There's not much explanation except overlap it 1/4 inch. So we'll just do the one for now. And then you take it over and you press it, and you have, there we go. I created a line across my screen. You can press it in either direction or press it open. I have one going one direction, like everything's going to the left, to the outside, and to the tree. This one I have them both going to the outside because of the white fabric. And then when I sew the trunk on, I did find that I like to press that seam open. So if you want to press the seams open, you can do that. Remember, it's your project. However it works for you, you know, that's the way you do it. It doesn't matter what I do. I do set my seam. So let's see what it looks like if I press the tree open. Sometimes we just need to have things sit a little flatter by pressing. If you were to line all these up, one would have to go up and one would have to go down, right? So you can nest the seams. And I found that pressing it up really felt chunky. So by just pressing that one section open, it's a wall hanging for me, so I'm not going to worry about it. Usually pressing things open will help it sit better and sit a little flatter, but I know people have opinions on it and it's not always what they want to do. So then you can trim this off. On these, I chose to trim it afterwards. And it's the same thing here. You're going to need one set. So it looks like if I put my background so that it overhangs by 1/4 of an inch from my tree, that looks like that might give me that look that people say I have to have. And then I'll just start sewing it. See if I made a mistake while talking and sewing and cutting. It's not easy as people think sometimes to be able to randomly talk to people either about the project or about life in general, do the cutting and the sewing and the pressing. Diary of a Quilter? Yeah, I said Diary of a Quilter. If you go to, let me see if I can find it. There are a lot of people that have these tree blocks that show you, excuse me while I put my face. Tree quilt block. There's a lot of people that make the same pattern. It's not like it's an original or anything like that. And she does have a video also. She calls hers Improv Modern Patchwork Tree Quilt Tutorial. She has a large one and a small one. I am just going to take a, come on mouse, wakey wakey. I'm just going to send you, I'll put in the link in the chat of the first one that comes up, and then you guys can follow the links and go to the other one. There you go. Hi, Love to Craft. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, no, you sprained your wrist. Yep, R&R. There's not much you can do with a sprained wrist as a crafter, is there? She has an amazing blog. I've followed her from, you know, my early on in my quilting stuff, like 2009. Whoops. Come on. Okay, you gonna be good? Okay. So I have this extra right here. I want my small ruler. You can get through life as a quilter and only use, you know, 1 or 2 rulers, but it is nice when you have more. So someone had sent me one of this Missouri Star one many years ago, and I'll just line it up along that 1/4 inch seam and take the excess off. You can leave it in if you want. It's not, I mean, it creates more bulk, right? But it's not like a crisis if you leave it in. So I will press this gently so that I can come back and press that seam open. See, now this, if I press the seam open, this is where decisions have to be made. If you press this first seam open, I want to press this one this way, because if I press it open, I'm adding some extra bulk there. And since I'm not, unless I have the white fabric, I don't feel that it matters. Now, see, this is where I struggle, and I know I'm not doing it right because look at the difference. I've got all this up here and that wonky down there, and it's just not right. So on the next one, I'm going to show you me making it just the way I make it, but I want to find the other tree so I can put the trunk on, because you don't want to hang out here with me and not make at least one full block, right? Now I know I cut everything in half. There has to be one. Ta-da. I don't even press the trunk or anything over yet. I press after sewing both of them on. I just sit there, put on one of my videos or another video, an audio book, and just sew the trunks. They're super, I don't know, brainless isn't always a good terminology to use, but we don't have to think too hard. Yeah, it's really offset, and I don't offset very well. Now the measurements I'm using is I cut my original block at 4.5 wide and 6.5 tall. That's just a measurement that I chose based on the size trees I wanted for my mini quilt. There are measurements in the tutorial linked below. Diary of a Quilter has her own measurements, and 39 other people. The one in my tutorial, I did a 5-inch charm and a 10-inch layer cake. This one, I wanted skinny blocks and tall skinny trees, so that's where I went here. I cut 1.5 inches off the bottom, and that's this pile. The tree trunk's going to go in the center, so I just cut them in half. And the tree trunk is 1 inch wide, and whatever height you're going to have here. So mine is 1 inch wide by 1.5 inch tall. Now you can change those numbers up for anything you want. Am I going to, well, depends. I do have some Christmas things in the shop. I have a bunch of coasters here. I don't know what people might want. I have some Christmas stockings in the shop. I can make some mug rugs. Is there something specifically you want, or are you talking about tutorials? Because in December, I'm going to have an Advent series where for at least 24 or 25 days, there will be a mostly non-talking 3 to 10 minute video on something that's quick to make as a Christmas gift. And I'll link that video to the original, like this tree. If I show this tree block during Advent, it's going to be a quick cut this, sew this tree block. And then I'll link it to the original longer video for the people that need more tips and tricks, and they need more information than just a quick 5-minute non-talking type video. Giovanna's part. Tutorials, yeah. I have a variety. I think I have a Christmas playlist. I've made a lot of things, so unless there's something specific that you're interested in. Now I'm going for 3.5 inches wide by 5.5 inches tall, and I know my trunk, I'm ahead of myself. I need to put the trunk on. So I will trim the bottom off to make it nice and even. Make a pile of my scraps. I'll take my trunk, and I can decide where I want it. And I try to fold this in half to find the center of the tree with a little finger press. And then I'll just put the center of the trunk. Now, do you guys know, I'm tangled. Do y'all know the trick? If you have a skinny piece and you press your seam allowances to the back of that skinny piece, it makes the trunk stand out. It becomes more to the foreground. If you put your seam allowances to the back, it makes it sit further recessed looking. Now, see how the difference is? Does it matter? Probably not, but depending on how you're going to quilt your project, it might make a difference. And I like that extra fabric behind it as like padding to puff it up a little bit. I've made stockings in the past. Siri Porn, Oh, I don't really know if I'm going to say that name right, but hello, the person that mentioned Offset. I don't know what happened. Did we lose? Did it get put into spam? Yeah, I've made stockings. I have stocking ornaments. I showed a project for a stocking zipper pouch. Let me see if I can come up with the playlist. So if you go to my channel, let me pull up my channel, right? I go to my channel and underneath it says home video shorts and there's a magnifying glass. And if I type in, let's see how many things I have for Christmas. So I made Christmas quilt blocks, and then there's just some rambling. There's my easy tree blocks, so it's white and green. I have the folded origami hexagon Christmas or. There we go. Let me go. Let me shut the window. That is super loud. I can't see you guys right now. Oh, I did a show and tell Christmas stocking blocks where I made like a table runner. I made selvage ornaments. We did Christmas zipper pouches, table runners. I did mug rugs. So there's a lot just by typing in the word Christmas that you'll see. I even have something how to reuse last year's Christmas cards. So there's a variety of things that you can find. And if you need something different, just send me an email or message on one of my videos and I will help you out. Giovanna, what? Can you still hear me? I had to shut the window because the AC turned on. Oh, someone with the word PRN in their name. They were being nice and then they stopped being nice. So they got deleted. I'm just going back through. Can you, right, Mary? I struggle with that. As a child, I did want to learn how to chew gum and walk at the same time because everyone always said how hard it was. And I was a very naive child and I believed everything. So I did try to do that. Bray's still wonky. I'm just scrolling through. Jackie, thank you. It is a 60. I don't know why when I turn the camera on, my brain just turns into mush. You know, if you're using like all of Christmas fabric or something like that, then it makes it like everything's going to work together, right? If you started to put Halloween in with Valentine's Day, it's going to be a little bit weird. But overall, you know, right? Things will either go totally crazy scrappy or go with, okay, we're good. Or, you know, make things match. If you can purchase, either just go and get Christmas fabric, or if you have like a layer cake or jelly roll for whatever project you're doing, it does make it easier to match everything. But now you could, like, you would create scraps, but you could cut triangles. I did pull out my 6-degree triangle and my Dresden triangle just to see if I could use that as a template so that everyone could be cut quick and easy and, you know, they would be all matchy and stuff. Tuck my little seams under. But I couldn't get it to work in the way that I wanted it to. So you're going to have, the way I do it, you'll have extra, but if you measure everything and cut everything exact, then you'll be okay. And I am going to press this open. I know I'm not in the shot, my apologies. So if I press this open, remember guys, I'm just a normal person like you. I'm nothing fancy. I don't have a degree in cinematography. I don't have all of the fancy equipment that some people do. And, you know, we're just living life over here like a normal person that's making projects. Oh yeah, Laura Lynn did the trees and stuff with the temperature project and stuff, yeah. So now I'm supposed to be going 3.5 by 5.5, and this spot right here is 4 3/8 down from the top. So if I put 4 3/8 on my tree trunk seam there, make sure I have 3.5 inches. So anything that goes over, I'll just trim that off. And then I'll spin this, and it's 3.5 by double check 5.5. Line everybody up. And I found that that was the best way to make sure that the widths at the bottom here for the trunk are all going to be the same. So there's that, that, and that. See? Jackie got something? Jackie got something. Ooh, UPS, that's fun. My order from the Fat Quarter Shop is coming in on Monday. I'm very excited. I also found some of their foundation paper piecing. One of y'all sent me their courthouse steps. So I thought we could do that maybe in the next live stream. Excuse me, my pants are falling down. Ooh, a new laptop. That's very exciting, Jackie. We know what your afternoon's going to be like. So now I can just take the rest of these and, well, let me sew the next one without offsetting any seams and just doing whatever I feel like doing. Meaning I am just going to, what do we decide? If the bottom sticks out 1/4 inch for the background, that I should get. And your tree, I'm going to guess that that's some bias everywhere because we cut on a diagonal. I feel like maybe it's different on each side. Like this one, it needs to have the background extra on the top. So let me sew this. Am I trying to push you over the edge? Giovanna, are you trying to push Mary over the edge? No nudging. No nudging allowed. And sometimes maybe you need to do a scant 1/4 inch seam. Maybe your 1/4 inch isn't quite right, and to get the block size the way you need it, then maybe you need to do yours a little scant. And that's okay too. That's not a problem. You're not sending, if you're making these for a swap, you need to follow all the swap rules and do exactly what you're told and be a good little swap partner. But if you're doing this for yourself, I know we need to learn to do things properly. But if we try and we're just a little off on the properly, then I say good enough is good enough if you're making it for yourself. Oh, Janice, right? Don't we all end up needing something like that at some point? I did invest in my business and purchased a new laptop. All right, so this time I think I'm just going to line it up with the bottom and the top and match it. And I'm going to be wild and crazy and not follow any of the rules. Now, of course, you can make all of those cuts differently. Just because I made them at those numbers doesn't mean you have to, unless you like to look. Now, see this tree, I must have did something definitely different because that tree is different. So I'm going to have to look. So I'm going to have some smaller skinny trees, whatever. I honestly thought I wrote it down somewhere. Trim Where's trunk? Trunk line. I have my little sticky note sheets over here that I'm just looking at. Stuck it to the Grinch face. My goodness. Yeah, I was thinking about a 5x5 layout or a 5x6 because they're narrower. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of cute, but it's not what I wanted. I wanted it taller. So we'll see. Ooh, I don't understand all the words, but I know that 20 is much larger than 8. Oh, your daughter's running late. You know, it's just grumpy, right? Why do kids do that? I mean, sometimes they run late just because whatever they're doing makes them run late. But sometimes, like my youngest, Robbie, he would just be like, I was just talking to my friends. I'm like, yeah, great. While your mother's sitting out here doing her thing. All right, I'm not going to put any more trunks on now because I'm just not going to put any more trunks on. I don't have them all done and everything, right? Oh, setting up a new laptop. We have new internet. We went with the fiber finally, and that's at least it wasn't too bad, but you have to change all passwords and get everything all set up. I still don't know how to use this. I have to go up to Best Buy and get them to help me on a couple things. So I'm going to hold off even. Watch me do this. I'm going to hold off on these guys for a minute because I want to see if I can get closer to that. And by doing that, I'm going to take 3 blocks, and that way I'm not having matchy-matchy. Okay, 3 blocks lined up, relatively neat. Put them on the line. The first cut, can I do it with this one? Yeah. That'll be for squaring up, out of my way. The first cut will be at 1 inch and 2.5. Nope, let's do the 1/2 inch that I originally, 3/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch. I'm going to do 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to do it at, is this in the center-ish? 2 and 2. So I'm going to do it at 1/2 inch, and I'm going to do it at 2.5, and we'll see what this does. And if I have different trees, I'm really not that concerned. I just want the fun look. And then on this one, we'll do the 1/2 inch. And I wonder if I just went all the way to the top. Let's try that. I will have to be concerned then about the 1/4 of an inch, but if I lose the tip of a tree, I lose the tip of the tree. Hi, Sue. I'm glad we can keep you smiling and laughing, Mary. All right, first one's first. And now by doing this, my forest won't be matchy-matchy, but we'll have a little bit of fun trying to figure it out. And you guys won't have to struggle as much if you want something very similar. So there's that. It was getting a little late last night and I was just busy. Now, okay, so this one, if I put the green behind it, it's still firm enough as this creamy color that I don't think it'll be as noticeable, like a shadow. Nope, it is. It's got a shadow. So let's put it over to the green. Not a big deal. And excuse me, I also have my clappers here in case things don't behave themselves. I can give them a wallop. And then we put this one on and we'll show, okay, so this one, I had a feeling that I did not do this because I'll probably end up losing the tip of the tree in the seam allowance. So we'll see what it looks like when I put this second piece on. So this is technically considered improv because I'm making it up as I go. So for those of you that struggle with it, I think this would be a good project because once you figure out your cuts, you can make them all the same. Giovanna's driving home now. Okay, so press this. Well, maybe not, maybe not. That's not too bad. Whew, that's hot. That does give me a tree that's a 1/2 inch from the top. So if I'm careful with my trimming, so I already know that, where's this one? Let's do this trunk. Oh, look, that's easy to find. We'll put this trunk on to see what it looks like. This was a jelly roll strip that was kind of going up and down like that. I just think it looks like a tree trunk, so I use it a lot. Don't know. I pulled the last one out, so I don't know if I have any more, like another scrap of it in my brown collection. And if I don't, then I'll just move the trees around a lot so that they're not all in one spot. I'll also need to watch where I put them so they're not like a bunch of green or a bunch of red. I like to, you know, keep them mixed up and stuff. All right, so this is half. And it's going to be a little close, and these might even not work because, probably shouldn't have done 3, because of the seams on the side. Again, wall hanging, he'll be all right. I like to make hot pads out of things that didn't come out quite like I wanted to, because a pot holder or a hot pad will get dirty and used up, and then you can always toss it after a while. Put something you like on the back, and then you won't even have to look at the front. Oh, hi, Ellen. Well, we're still rambling. Oh, yeah, the daylight savings. Yes. I haven't gone on the treadmill yet today. It's still early in the day. I thought I would do it in the afternoon, maybe when it's raining, so I can watch the rain through the window, because I have my treadmill. It's in the... Well, I guess I did that weird. I guess it's supposed to be like the kitchenette, the dinette, the little... It has a big light, and it's next to the kitchen, so... All right, so we want to go 3.5. Oh, Audrey's late, too. Oh, everyone's getting... Grandma said 50 lashes with a wet noodle. Okay, so 3.5, 4 3/8. Yeah, that's going to put me right there at that 1/4 inch, so it will be easy to lose the tip of the tree. It's like a flying geese block if I'm not careful. But overall, it's fine. It's fine. It's just not the look I was going for. Actually, it's a nice tree. Excuse me. Of course, my nose itches while we're doing all this sewing. It's a nice tree shape, and this is kind of what I was looking for, but... See, that's a nice, tall, skinny tree, and it's pretty similar to those. So now I'm going to cut another block, and I'm going to keep trying, right? I need to sew these up anyway, but this time I'm just going to do 2, and I'm not going to do these 2 because they're my favorite. I'm going to do 2, and I'm only going to sew 1, and I can mix up the other one afterwards, right? So I'll put the blue on top just because it makes it easier to see. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to go 3/4 inch over. I need to write something down because if I get this right, I'll want it. So cut 1 is 3/4 of an inch over. And I'm going to go at 2, and I'll stick with the 2.5 at the top. So 3/4 of an inch, 2.5. And the second cut, I'm going to go 3/4 of an inch over, 0.75 to the right. And then at the top, I think I said hi to Audrey. If I missed Audrey, hi Audrey. Yeah, no, she's the one with the grumpy late guy. That's like that big rock guy on like Mario, the Womp Womp that always comes down and kill everyone. Whew. Okay, so 3/4 of an inch over, and let's do a 3/4 of an inch down from the top. Okay. Swap out 1. And if I sew that matchy-matchy, then probably that's what I'll have to do unless this is the number I stick with, and then I'll be okay. So 1/4 of an inch. Take it down just a smidge. After working with small pieces like 1.5 inch wide or less, everything just looks so much bigger to me. Like 1/4 of an inch could look quite huge. And this is similar to those that are like designing patterns and stuff. Light background for the tree, so I'm going to press it to the background. They have to go through and they do all this. The sticky note, yes, because I put everything into this container, including the sticky note, because Mary, I've learned my issues and I've learned how to, I may have forgotten to write things down thinking I'll remember, but whatever I did must have been really simple and I thought it was easy. I honestly thought I wrote it down. I really thought I wrote it down. I don't see it anywhere. You would think if I wrote it down, I would have put it on that sticky note. It's just really driving me crazy. Those are the sizes of all the pieces. Yeah. It's crazy. I have 36 fabrics. Whatever. It is what it is, right? So then we'll put this on. This looks like it might work. And if it's down like that, nope, it's up like that. With my patrons, we did a lot of projects that things were like twisted and moved around and everything. And we did a lot of practice, 1/4 of an inch seam and see how it works and looks before we sew the seam. Because when you're working with 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares and you're like snowballing corners and stuff, you really don't want a seam rip, because it won't work. Yeah, so the pattern designers, they probably nowadays do it more on the computer and not actually sew as much until it's time to sew the block or something. But I know in the past that they would sit there and try different things to figure out the measurements and what they wanted and all of that. So then they charge for that time and stuff. Oh, look at that one. Wait, do you guys see this one? Can you see? It's like even there and even at the top, I can just trim a smidge off the bottom just so I don't get wonky. I'm like 1/8 of an inch of one section. Like, that's it, right? And now we need to find, oh, there's the bottom right there. Technically the very last one. So that would mean, what am I looking for? I like this snowflake background. It's a little bit different. Of course, it's Joann's. When I go out running errands, since I changed the internet, I have to return my box, you know, the internet boxes and stuff. And it's basically in the same plaza as Michael's. So I'd like to sneak into Michael's and see what this one looks like now. Thanks, Jackie. Corkboard squares to mount. Oh, yeah, those would be nice. I mean, my corkboard is my 20.5-inch ruler that I have all of my Post-it notes on. Speaking of different things, let me show you what since I know no one cares, but I'm going to show you anyways because I was a little excited to find this. Now, I haven't put it into my Amazon shop yet, but I found this. When I talked about looking for different planners to keep track of what I want to make, I do have another notebook that's buried where I write down, once I figure out these numbers, I'll put today's date for the video or whatever, like November 2025 live stream, and I'll put down all the measurements for this tree in my pattern book. But this book comes, it's 300 pages that are numbered on the bottom. They have the sticky note tab things that allowed me to put a tab. I keep buying patterns on Etsy and forgetting about them. So I put down a pattern that I own so I can write down the pattern name and where it's located. It's like, is it in my email? Is it on Etsy? And then I have a tab for things I want to make for Etsy and things I want to do for videos for YouTube. Now, if you're doing something, you can have a table of contents, like if you're writing a book and chapter 1 is on page 1, and then this is the topic or something, but it's just lined and it has these the big metal rings. So I'm thinking I could buy new inserts if I went crazy, but there's 300 pages and I know it had to have been under $15. It might have been like 8 or 12. But I know I could just get a notebook at the store, but I wanted something hard covered. So I went ahead and grabbed this. So I thought this would be a nice place to store all the ideas because I keep writing them on sticky notes and putting them in the journal. And then when the year is over, you know, I'm not looking in that journal anymore. So when you guys have like requests for something, I can put it in there. Because right now, like I said, I'm just writing it in the journal, and that's not working. Where's my thing? Road to hell being paved with good intentions? Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to do better now that I have less things. Like I'm not raising children anymore. I don't have to think about, you know, keeping a husband occupied and seriously. Seriously, did you see that? Did you see that? You know, there's less things in my brain, but I feel like it's a little bit more cluttered now, even with less things in there. I purchased it on Amazon. If you want to wait till after the live stream, I forgot to add it to my Amazon storefront. I'll add that there and make sure my other planners are there too. They have ones with blank pages, so if you want to use it like a sketchbook, I know the type of paper matters and stuff, but this paper says it doesn't bleed through or anything like that, so that's helpful. Now I'm going to have definite strings everywhere. I've gotten really good at seam ripping, and I don't want to be that good at seam ripping. There we go. Right side. I thought something looked weird, but it didn't click. Just my brain's like, hey, that looks weird. It's blue fabric, Robin. Everything looks weird. I don't know if I have an office supply section in my Amazon store, and if I don't, I'll add it. I know I have crafting and things for the cats because we have a lot of cat lovers here in our community. So I just fold this in half, find the center of the tree, I just squeeze it, and then I decide if I want like my snowflakes going in a certain direction. The tree is what, half an inch? Yeah, so it's easy to eyeball where the center of the tree is. And then I start, even though there's that extra fabric, I start on the edge of that extra fabric. And then here we go. Now, if you don't care, if you want all your trees to be crazy wonky, and I love crazy wonky, I just wanted to try to be not wonky this time, but I don't know why I bother. I like to gently press it in the direction first, and that way it makes the seam stick up, and I find it's easier to press it open that way. I also use like the seam ripper to hold it open. I have a video where I use a knitting needle, but that was in the last house, and I don't know where those knitting needles are right now. This iron's a water hog. This is the plate that came with it. It goes on one way to store it to protect it from being scratched. And then like this, because I find if I'm ironing a bunch of these, I like to do this. So it's a really good thing to have nearby. When it cools down, I just hang it up on the wall. Okay, so now we're gonna look at this at 3.5 by 5.5, 4 3/8. For the bottom, 1, 2, 3. That's the line on your ruler just before a 1/2 inch. Now, getting them 3.5 inches wide has been a little bit of a struggle. Like, I'm only trimming off the bottom where the trunk is and that extra, like, sky bit. Now we'll see, and then 5.5 inches tall, 3.5 inches wide. If it's a little bit uneven, as long as it's like, if you're a 1/16 of an inch off and you're not perfectly 3.5 inches, it'll go into the seam and it'll be okay. So was that it? Line that up there. It looks like I might have gone just a 1/2 inch down, but you know what? Do another one. So we have, like, see here, this one was supposed to be cut this way. I cut it that way. Life goes on. It's not a big deal. So I will end up with some that match, and again, life will go on and it'll be fine. Once you kind of mix everything up, it'll be okay. Yeah, we just keep trying, right? Thanks, Mary. Yeah, I'll make sure that I have all of the 2026 journals that I've chosen this year. I like some of the teachers' ones because they have the time of the day down the side, but it's only for the school year. They don't have it for like year round. 75, which is 3/4 of an inch, 0.75, and then 2.5 inches. For cut 1, and then 3/4 of an inch, 75. And last time I went 3/4 of an inch down, so this time I'm just going to go 1/2 inch down, and I'm going down from the top here. So if anyone was curious about that, I'm just counting those because there's the little dots here. So I make sure I'm at that, and then I'll go down a 1/2. And then I'll write it down. So cut number 1 is 0.75 and 2.5. Cut 2 is 0.75 and 0.50. You know, lesson learned. Just because we think we're going to remember it, we should know better. We never remember it. have this, and this, and these three. I'm just making a stack. I'll sew them eventually. All right. Now, I'm going really just whatever fabrics I cut. It's Christmas. You can't even see the cardinals here anyway, so it's not a big deal. I don't know. It's got a good contrast. This might not be what you're looking for. You might want to pay attention if if you want all of your backgrounds to be a blend of blue skies or something, and then you want the insides to be all shades of green. You know, you can try to figure that out. Yep, as long as I have the 1/4 inch from the tips, I'm just trying to get, this is the original ones, Giovanna, these two. And the top, from the top down, it's a full inch. While the other ones, I'm going to have to be really paying attention so I don't get that 1/4 inch. I know, Giovanna, but sometimes we get busy, and if someone distracts me while I'm doing something, if the cats need something or the boys need something, then I get a little distracted and I forget to write it down. Last night's might have been, I was home alone and I heard like a knocking sound, but it sounded like they were knocking on the outside of the house. It must have been my daughter's cats doing something stupid, but when I went out, I didn't see anything. I'm pretty sure I quit working soon after that. I'd like to just have a variety of things. You know, there's certain things, I know. I'm just explaining. When I worked as a second in command at Wendy's, from the general manager, I was the co-manager just below. We had district managers that would come in and you'd have to explain yourself, and you couldn't have any excuses. So I really struggled at explaining myself and saying why. They're like, how did you let this happen? How did this occur? And you couldn't use, I tried to teach my kids too that when you're explaining or giving, like, Giovanna, you're an amazing quilter, but, so you don't want to do that. So I had to try to like explain what happened and not have an excuse, but I don't know. There's like reasons things happen. It's not an excuse, you know. It's not, oh, I was just doing this and screwing around. I got distracted. I am sewing on my Juki. What do you think, Giovanna? How's it sound? I forgot to ask you because I've been sewing on it for a while and you haven't been hanging out with me. I put the new, yeah, that butt is horrible, right? I put the new bobbin holder in and it got rid of the clunkety clunkety clunk. So I diagnosed it myself. I bought a replacement part. It's still a little loud, but you know, it's a little loud, but you know, that's a sewing machine. It's what happens. Put this one on. Oops, I gotta trim it first. It's just a little bit. Look how many times I've used butt already in a different conversational way. It's just a little bit, but it will add bulk over time. And by not worrying about as much of that, ooh, you know, offsetting it by 1/4 of an inch this way and that way and stuff, it's working out pretty good. I find that if I quit trying to do what everyone else tells me to do, like in the whole internet, not just you guys, if I quit doing that and I just do what works for me, things do end up looking better and working. Sticky notes fell. And, you know, getting it to be the way that I need it to be. You have to learn your process, whether it's math, gardening, sewing, whatever. We all don't do things the same way. And if you get the same results, it's not as it used to be. Yeah, I still think it sounds a little loud, but it doesn't sound bad anymore. I think that's the struggle, you know. It's once you know something's different, then even if we pull up a video and it sounds exactly the same, it's gonna still feel different. I just know it's loud. That's why. Oh, the Juki is okay. Cool. Thanks, Giovanna. I still bring out my brother and I use it because I use it for fabric postcards and stuff. But I was holding off to be able to finish the tote bags with this, but I'm hoping to do that tomorrow. I just haven't had time. Because next week I definitely need to start working on the Advent videos and get those going. Had to clear out a lot of things on my phone. Oh, you guys want to see the new thing that I made? No, I don't have it right here. You have to wait. Sorry. I also told my patrons that I would give them a heads up before you guys saw it. So I guess it would be a little rude if I showed you it. I have new things in the shop. If you ever want to see the new things in the shop, your first best option is to, I don't know what, like my Etsy shop, and Etsy will tell you when I put new things in. And starting definitely next year, I want to start practicing now and in December, is to make sure that I post over on Instagram every time I put a new item into the Etsy shop. Because there's no point making things and putting them in the shop if you never show them to anyone, right? I'm looking forward to the Advent videos being over, Giovanna, to be honest with you. I keep flipping one of my seams on the trunk. It's fine. We're still doing the Friends Advent, and I haven't decided 100% yet. Talk to my patrons about it in tomorrow's video, but I'll either put it in my story every day on Instagram. I have the Friends Advent, and then I have the small little items that some of you guys have sent to the post office, and also items that I've collected to put into just a regular handmade Advent here. So I do have 2 Advents to open. Has anyone gotten their boxes from like Jenny's box and everything? I really don't. Sometimes Missouri Star sends it out to their affiliate people. I seriously doubt that I will be one of them. So if everyone's already receiving them, then I definitely won't. And they haven't asked me if I've ever purchased one or anything, so I doubt it. Otherwise, I don't have any other Advents. I've been looking around at a few different ones. I did buy the wooden Advent with, I think it's like pinks and blues and stuff all over it from Michael's when they went 75% off last year. All right, I think we got it. Line that up. Yep. Okay, so this is what I want to go with. I will have some weirdos in the mix. It looks like it might be slightly wider, 3/8, 5/8, 3/8. This side here is a little bit wider, but it's good. I like it. Oh, you received it? It's the first time you've bought one and you've received it already, Jackie? I love watching it. I'll start watching on YouTube because someone will always shows them early. So I'll go and watch and see what everyone gets. But yeah, I don't know. Everyone would be like, I see these different ones with small skeins of yarn, and the hand-dyed yarn, of course, with the mini skeins. That's like the top of my list. If money meant nothing, that's an Advent that I would purchase, right? If we're just like, well, what would be the one Advent you want? That's one that I would purchase. I'm not sure which person I would buy it from, but I love the little hand-dyed skeins. I want to pick up my miter square blanket again and start working on that. or start a new one again. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I have a sweater to work on, but they're expensive. Everything is like $200, and I get it because when I tried to put one together at a minimal cost, it was expensive. Oh, Patricia, I think for that, I think I might, because there's so many other people that already have it on the internet and show it. Like for the Friends Advent, I opened all my packages at once. My friend would send it so that I'd receive it before Thanksgiving. I'd open them all up. I'd sit here and I would just make video after video until I had 25 of them, showing what I sent her and what she sent me. And then I'd have to go through and edit them and upload them and all of that stuff. And it is a huge process. Worth it in the end, but I think I haven't decided this year if I'm just going to open all of them still. This is wonky. It's interesting. So this is not cut 1.5 inches perfectly. So what's the size of this? This is 4.5 by 5, and this is not as bad as I thought, just a smidge off. It looks way off. Maybe it's the way the snowmen are sitting or something. Okay, so let's do 6, and we can chain piece them now. I appreciate that, Giovanna. We are doing it differently this year, but I will put my Friends Advent somewhere. I might do daily on Instagram and then just put the whole thing in the free section on Patreon. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like that fabric. I like fabric with writing on it. And there's 6. I find myself hoarding that type of fabric. Okay. Big ruler, big cutter. There's 24 hours in a day, just saying, right? So if I stop sleeping, I've actually been sleeping really well. I get like 7 hours of sleep now. It's totally crazy. I have not slept well prior to this past year. My kids say, there's all kinds of noises and banging. And that one time, I think I told you the story where the neighbor's puppy jumped over the wall and was running around in our backyard at like midnight. I slept right through it. They were yelling right outside my window. I'm like, cool. If I sleep 7 hours, I wake up all kinds of refreshed. All right. 3/4 of an inch in. Halfway is 2.5 inches. Hi, Jill. Woohoo, you made it. And we're close to done, but we're not done. We'll probably stop around 1 o'clock. Giovanni, did you sign up for Patreon? I don't think you can just go and look. I think you have to actually sign up and become a free member. And then you should be able to see it. I haven't heard from anyone else. Maybe you never told me before either, so maybe they just never told me. It's okay, then it's 3/4 of an inch in and 1/2 of an inch down. So that's 1/4. Oh, I'm in a weird spot. I can't see. With the diagonal line going through 45 or 60 or whatever that is. 3/4 of an inch and 1/2. So I'm going to take this top snowman and put it down at the bottom. And hopefully everyone will go good. Now, if something doesn't work out quite right, you get an email every time you post a video from them on Patreon. Every like when I put the free ones, you shouldn't be getting it like on Sundays, right? That would be weird. I wonder if free people get that email then, even for the paid stuff that they don't get to see. Did you see the video when I walked to the mailbox? I know, so exciting, right? I hope everyone's not getting a video every week. That would not be fun. All right, how do we decide that we're doing this? 1/4 of an inch down? Yeah. Because if you get YouTube video emails and then you get Patreon. Now, I put out a post for my patrons every time. Oh wow, I'm sorry about that. Those you won't be able to see because they're under the paywall. I put out every time on like my patrons so they don't get double emails. They don't sign up for the YouTube emails. So on Wednesday I put up a post that said new YouTube video, and on Friday new YouTube video, and on Sunday they see their video. I didn't know that the free members were getting an email every time. Oh, see, now that's not going to work because it's black on black. Wait, what do we got? Black and okay. So I'll just move one down. I'm sorry, Giovanna. That's not right. Because I have to put down who sees things, you know, like who can see the video. I would think that, like, oh, you know, is it new, Giovanna? Is it just something? Bye, Sue. Happy Thanksgiving. Oh, yeah, we got Thanksgiving coming up right before we do. I'll be going live again before Thanksgiving. I've noticed recently that I've started receiving emails for videos that I can't see on like the Bakery Bears, but it's only something new that's happened. I didn't have it all the time. It's something new, maybe October or November. Because I get the email and I go over to click on it and they're like, you can't watch this. I'm like, huh. Why'd you send me the email then? I have some new Patreon tiers or patron tiers coming out in January. It takes me a bit to like get going and stuff, to create habits and everything like that. So I'm hoping, it's always, wow. I'm hoping to start being able to put some free things out and to switch things up a little bit. But I have to be careful, and I don't want to overpromise or overcommit or anything. So I'll do my best, but I would like to start putting some free content over there. I definitely won't be doing live streams over there because, I mean, if nobody wants to show up, then there's no point doing it, right? I can get more things done than, you know, working on one thing and trying to, you know, just talk to myself. All right, so that sounds like it needs oil now, though. It's getting a little squeaky. Gypsy Quilter thread cutter has the used 60 millimeter blade in there, but they now have one that goes for the 45. See, look at that, I remembered. And of course they have other ones, but this one's great because you use the old rotary cutter blade, so you always have, you can put new blades in and not have to do it. Nice. I'm putting up tiers next year that are, you know, for a certain dollar amount, you know, I'm going back to my original thing where you get, what is this? I can't figure, oh, yeah, where am I at? This way, okay. 1 video a month, 2 videos a month, 4 videos a month, or whatever like that. So I'm putting in a variety so that, you know, there's a couple different options. Last time, the patrons, they just wanted tiers and they wanted to donate at whatever level they wanted to donate. And people come and go. So now I'm going to put this to the green so we don't have the shadow and the white. You know, I'm going to change it up a little bit and go with, you know, 1 video a week. I have a level where you're just supporting me at like $5 a level for those that just want to donate a little bit each month. And then for, I think it's $8, then you'll be able to see 1 video a month and stuff like that. So just make sure you check on the tiers and see which is which, so that you're not, if you want a video, you're not picking one that doesn't have videos in it. The people that are already on Patreon, they will stick with the tiers they have because they're grandfathered in. But I don't, some people change and they like cancel all their tiers every year, and then people have to re-sign up at a different tier. And I don't want to do that. And I was really confused at what I was doing there for a minute, thinking I had to mix and match when I just have to match. See, talking and working is not always a good thing. That's why I also put videos or TV on that I don't have to pay attention to, because it's like a Hallmark cozy mystery, or if it's something I've already watched. Yeah, and if you guys want something different, you can always ask. I can't always guarantee it's going to happen. I can't always guarantee a tutorial or video, and I think I'll just trim that off later. I can't guarantee everything, but I can listen and do the best I can to give you kind of what you're looking for, right? In the beginning, I tried to make every video that everybody wanted, but just because one video, some people really, they're like, they hounded me to make a video, and then they left the channel or they never commented. I don't know if they even saw the video, but if it's not a video that's going to work for everybody, then I have to be really careful. It's a whole YouTube thing. You know how it is. You have to follow the rules and jump through the hoops. Did I send the wrong one, Jill? I got a little confused on yours, 100%. If I sent you the wrong one, just let me know what you wanted. And I only had 1 camera tote bag, right? No, you can't make everyone happy. I was really confused on your order, Jill, and you never messaged me or said anything, so I thought I must have did it right or something, but I don't remember what it was, but there was something about your order that seemed confusing to me. I am always happy to fix a mistake, to exchange an item, or to just ship you something new. Sometimes I mess things up. I've had some really sweet people that have, like, I sent an order to Giovanna and Mary got Giovanna's, and Giovanna got Mary's, and then they just mailed them to each other, and I gave them a discount for their next purchase. You know, things happen. Sometimes I really have a freak out because someone will order like an older item and then I can't find it in my Etsy storage bins, and then it's like the last thing in the plastic storage bin and I finally find it. It wasn't lined? I sent you a tote bag without a lining in it, Jill? No way. I mean, I believe you. How could I do something like that? That's crazy. Could you email me a picture, please? I would love to see what I did wrong. Because you said something, I think you left me a message or said a comment that your daughter loved the bag, and then I was going through my bins and the camera bag was still there, and I thought, there's something wrong here. How can I That's great. I would love to, if you would, I would love to see it inside just to, see how I screwed up. A different lining or no lining at all, because wow, that's crazy. And I'm not like denying it because we all know, Giovanna will tell you how well I screw things up. Sometimes I wonder, hi Laura, like if I'm just walking on air someday, like how did I, like these things, I just had a freak out because I thought I sewed two wrong things together. I'm really good. I'm really, really good at messing things up. I don't know what the deal is. Why do people let me be in charge of anything, right? Why? So these I'm just pressing over to the side and see the first one I overlapped a little bit. I left the top a 1/4 of an inch. I appreciate that, Giovanna. We do. We all make mistakes. How many times have you ordered something from Amazon, Walmart, Sears and Roebuck or whoever, right? And you got something weird in the mail or it wasn't the right thing. And the pictures that I take, I already know, I tell you guys all the time, I'm not a good photographer. I've gotten better at editing it through Canva and stuff, but what you see on the computer isn't always what I see. I left a scant 1/4 of an inch on the background on the top when I sewed the first one, and when I sewed the second one I just lined it up, and now it's not a weird wonky mess, which is nice. I worry if I sent the wrong lining. Okay, I get it. If I sent a bag with no lining, I'm really worried about my mental state and how that happened, since I normally check. Does that mean I made 2 camera bags? I normally check to verify that I closed up the hole in the lining pocket because I've sent them out that way before. Yeah, that's just crazy. I have to look. Okay, hold on, I have to look. Bear with me, everyone. Let's see just how crazy Robin is. Of course, it's not going to show me what I want, right? Yeah. See, the thing is, that's what happened. I don't know what I sent you, Jill, and I'm glad you liked it because I have a camera tote bag in my Etsy bin. I don't know. I honestly don't know. The world is wacky, isn't it? The world is wacky. If you're happy, I am so thrilled that you're happy. I apologize for any screw-ups that my craziness have made. I don't know. I am willing to make it up to you any way you need to. If the tote bag works and you're happy with it, I am glad. If you'd like me to send you the other tote bag, I would be more than happy to do that because I believe there's one sitting in my bin, like I said. I stole my daughter's closet and I put all my Etsy stuff in there. Yeah, we have to fix our mistakes, apologize for them, right, Laura? What is it with the mental state sometimes? If I'm tired or if I have a headache or something and it just gets crazy. And I know that I make mistakes, but I do remember being really confused because I sent out Jill's order. She said how much her daughter loved it and stuff because her daughter loves cameras. And I was packing the next order like a couple days later or whatever, and there was a camera tote bag sitting in the bin. And I'm like, are we in some type of weird universe here? Well, I'm glad that you let me know about my mistakes so that at least the sanity, the sanity is okay, right? Well, thank you for letting me know. And please, anytime, even if you're like happy with your mistake, just let me know because sometimes I just have it stuck in my head like I don't know what I did wrong, but things happen, right? They just like whatever. What is it? What is that? There's an effect that when like you're going through your shopping bags and you've got one pink Barbie shopping bag, right? And you put it in your car, then you go back through the rest of your shopping bags and there's another pink Barbie bag, but you know you only have one. How did that other one just pop into being, right? That's how I felt with the camera tote bag. I'm like, then I double checked to make sure I sent out the order and you said you had something. So I'm like, okay, maybe I made two tote bags and I got confused. Oh my goodness. If anyone ever wants to put me like into the dementia ward and they want me to, maybe I'll get better if I don't want, no dementia, but I often think that I already have memory issues. I can't imagine what might happen, right? If I end up with, mostly because you didn't, yeah, but some people will go out and see it, and I think it's mostly because they didn't realize they had two. But there's some type of a word for it where things just, like, how they have the Mandela effect? Like things just pop into existence. So I don't know. You give me 3 words and talk to me for 10 seconds and I won't remember them. My son Justin and I every week I help him. I don't help him, but when he buys his groceries, I go out to the kitchen and I unpack the bags because I like to see what he gets. And I hang out with him on Sunday morning until lunchtime while he cooks his food for the week. And he'll say, "Okay, Mom, I'm having tuna fish sandwiches for lunch and chicken nuggets for dinner or something, right? Homemade stuff." I'm like, "Oh, chicken nuggets for dinner sounds great. What's for lunch?" I'll be, gosh darn it, 10 seconds after he told me and it's already out. Deja vu. Deja vu, you just don't have a on it or something. Maybe it's J-E, I don't know. Deja vu. Oh, Laura, there's got to be plenty of room. Because you know why? I won't remember where I'm at anyways, so I'm going to end up in your room. Just saying. Some days it's like I have perfect clarity, and then other days it's gotten worse over the years. It doesn't help because of the medications that I'm on and the chronic pain and stuff, but the reality is the brain was messed up a long time ago. I think we should go with the idea that, see, this confuses me when I look at that, so don't look at that. I think they said something like Einstein was brilliant, but he had other kind of mental problems and stuff. So if our mental issues, our dementia are every day, because we don't want to pick on, we don't want karma to bite us in the ass, and we don't want to be mean to those with actual dementia. So whatever our Robin brain issues are, I think it's just because we're so intelligent. Merry-go-round that's stuck on go, round and round and round. We're all a little confused, Jill. It's just, people say, I didn't know that this was weird until I said it out loud on the internet and everyone else was like, yeah, that happens to me too, Like I thought I was this weird broken person until I start talking to y'all and you're like, no, we've got the same problem. So this one I'm lining it up basically all the way. I do know that stop sewing when the brain's not working, or I'll sew like the 4-patch and the 9-patch coasters. If I'm tired or if the brain is struggling, I go to something easy because I work 7 days a week. From the moment I get up to the moment I go to bed, I'm doing something, either chores in the house, videos, Etsy items, Patreon stuff, whatever. I don't stop, and I do that 7 days a week, and I think that's part of my problem. Yeah, see, if we start taking medication, we don't say these words on YouTube because I think they get a little upset. But if we take medications for pain, the NARC word, then the side effects, while it can help with the chronic pain, the side effects mean that I forget entire years at a time. Like my kids, if my kids remind me of one of their childhood memories, I'm okay. But if they're like, do you know what happened when I was 8? I couldn't bring that memory up. I, I'm lucky if I decided last night what I'm going to have for dinner tonight, and I ended up making something totally different because I forgot. So, coconut oil, you think? Hold on, Giovanna. We have to write this stuff down. I've heard oh, let me show you what I just wrote. It's a bad word, so be prepared. See you next Tuesday. I'm just gonna leave it. I give up. Yeah, I think we really worry about stuff, especially as women, and we're all in the same boat. And as women, we're told not to discuss things. Like the men don't want to know about it. We have to figure these things out on our own. It's not for discussion. But then when you hang out with your girlfriends or friends online or something, I think sometimes we just have to break that barrier and talk about menopause and menstruation and medications and side effects and stuff. Because, like Giovanna, what if coconut oil, like it might not work for all of us, but what if 3 out of 10 get relief from coconut oil? You know, I'm really happy for those 3 people if it helps. Right? The brain to the pencil, the brain to the writing instrument doesn't always work. And I end up like skipping words when I'm typing or writing. So Jill went to the store. I might type Jill went store or Jill to store or something. So I have to constantly go back and double check comments and emails. A lot of my comments on my own channel you'll see are edited because sometimes I forget to say thank you. I'm so excited to have the conversation. I forget thank you. Or I have to fix typos. Whatever. Well, for me, the natural remedies aren't going to work, Giovanna. If I don't do what I'm doing, and I am on a strong dose to be able to function because I can't have what's wrong fixed. You know, when you have like nerve damage and discs issues and stuff, sometimes like surgeries and stuff make it worse, so you just kind of find your way. I do find certain like stretching exercises and stuff are helpful, but if I don't do this medication, I'll be curled up in a ball in bed all day and I can't function. So it does affect your brain, and everyone comes up with something, but it's what are those side effects? Yes, you need this heart medication so you don't die, but what's it going to do to you type situation? And it's a tough balance, and a lot of times, you know, they lie to us. I know sugar is an issue, and especially in October with the candy corn, so I have to be careful. And what I'm struggling with personally is because of the chronic pain, I can't exercise to the point that people want me to. So I'm trying to just sneak in 10 minutes here and there and have a variety of options to do. Because if I go on the treadmill and I walk a mile every day, by day 5 or 7, I'm not going to be able to move. But I've been doing 10 minutes on the treadmill at a rapid pace, but not too fast. And I've been able to sneak that in 3 or 4 days a week. And then I have the weighted hula hoop that I kind of sneak in. And now that I've had my heart checked and the primary care doctor is seeing one thing and the cardiologist says you're good to go, I'll go back to adding in the jumping rope, but I can't jump rope with a headache. So I try to sneak little things in. Thank you, Giovanna, I appreciate it. So I try to sneak things in, but the problem I'm having is I can't consume enough food into my body to like even everything out. That's why I do the meal replacement in the morning. And then I'm like, what am I going to eat? It's such a struggle every day. You know the Jetsons cartoon where they just pop a pill and there's their dinner? Man, I am looking forward to that time if it ever exists. Because to get enough proper calories and stuff in, I'm struggling. I think, Giovanna, that the coconut oil comes in like a pill or something. Welcome to the group, Jackie, right? So I try to find what I can for natural remedies, but it's really kind of hard. Sometimes you just need to do what you got to do, right? Spinal meningitis, yeah. Laura, you've had some really rough times lately. Well, that's why I have like sticky notes and stuff everywhere. I never used to make lists. I have nerve damage from an incident at work that was not considered workers' comp. So anyone knows where like the brachial plexus, that's kind of like between your shoulder and your neck underneath your collarbone area. So that's why, like right now, I can't feel my hands at all. Now, if you poke me with a pin, I feel inside, but I can't feel my skin and stuff. And my hands and feet go cold all the time. But then I have some issues from that, nerve damage. Whoop, whoop, look at that. I caught it. Then I have disc issues in my neck. So I have to just be careful, and some days I just can't do what I can't do. Oh, you're taking the actual oil. Okay, yeah, I've seen coconut oil at the store all the time. I've used it a couple times for cooking. Yeah, see, it's really hard. Like, Giovanna, I can't do like yoga and stuff because I've had 3 surgeries on my right shoulder and 1 on my left. And there's just no way that I can do those type of things because it relies so much on the shoulder. So like I said, I just find anything that works this week and this month. And next month, if it stops working, I try something new. They have those walking exercise, those walking things, walk for 5 minutes on YouTube videos. Those are pretty good because in between the walking, they have like, exercises like this or kind of sort of jumping jacky stuff. And that's pretty good too. So like I said, I can't do a lot, but I try to sneak in what I can. My goal is, I'll be 57 in February. My goal is by the time I hit 60 to be better. My 60s needs to be better than my 50s, right? Laura's had a rough time. That's perfect, Jackie. Yeah, we just got to carry on, Jill. That's why, sometimes things just show up at your house that you didn't order. I'm going to laugh. See, what's going to be good is if no one mentions it, as soon as the live stream's over and I go about doing something else, I'll totally forget about it until I see that camera tote. Look, I might get a wild hair up my ass, and that tote might just show up at your house one day, Jill. If it doesn't sell, I might just send it to you. Shits and giggles. Is Linda part of the group too? Hi, Linda. Yeah, we're a little random, but welcome. I Post-it notes. I mean, the Dollar Tree ones, they were really cheap, so, there we go. Giovanna, I do the same. Well, now I just let Walmart deliver it to me. And okay, in my own home, I order groceries twice a month. So I have 2 weeks or more to go through and just slowly add things to my online cart. And then when you're doing this, just make sure you have the wider part at the top and the skinny at the bottom, because if you do this, like I tried to a couple times, see, even with this being the wrong direction, because it's this way, it kind of looks like the lights going down, or those beaded curtains that people used to put in the doorway. So I'm still okay with it. But I still forget things, like as soon as the Walmart order comes, I'll be like, ah, oh, I needed to buy mayonnaise or something crazy like that. My kids laugh at me, but they're starting to wisen up to mama's ways now that they're getting a little bit older. If I need cranberry sauce, I buy 2 or 3 cans if it's in my budget, so that when I need it and forget to order it, I have a backup. So if it's something I do all the time, I buy extras whenever I can. And if something's on sale, like I have to have vegan cheese because of my milk allergy, and don't sew two together. When it goes on sale, I'll buy extra and just put it in the freezer. Well, Giovanna, lately I've been going out every week to different doctor's appointments, because when you go to a new primary care physician or you move to a new state, they want to send you off for everything, especially when they're like, well, you know you are of that age. You know you are older now. You need to have this. And I don't know. I shrunk 4 inches moving to Arizona. Tell me how I shrunk 4 inches in Arizona. Because I can pinpoint, it's either I shrunk 4 inches in Arizona, or I shrunk 4 inches when I moved into my kid's house. I'll let the blame go to either place. Hi, So Terry. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh no, my goodness, what did you come back with? Nothing? I take my water bottle to the kitchen to fill it up. Nobody's home, right? I'm all alone. I don't talk to anyone, nothing. I set it down on the counter. Sometimes I fill it up, sometimes I don't. I come back to the room. 30 minutes later, I go to get a drink, and I'm like, where's my water bottle? I just leave the kitchen. It must be like a cat must meow at me or something, but I'm just like, serious, Robin? I have a lot of these conversations where I go, seriously, Robin? What is wrong with you? I knew it wasn't just a me thing, but it's nice to know that other people are going through the same or similar things. Now, I hope some of you aren't. That would be great, but some of us are. I went and had it done. They measured my height when my first family physician appointment, and I know that I'm like 5'6 3/4", 5'7", right? I've been 5'7" for as long as I can remember. And she's like, oh, you're 5'2" point whatever. And I'm like, huh? So I thought maybe it's an old, because it's the kid scale where you stand on it and they put the metal bar over your head, you know, next to the scale, on the scale, whatever. So I thought, well, maybe it's just old. They had a new office and a brand new scale and everything, and they did it. And I went, huh. So I came home and measured myself with just, you know, the tape measure that you use for like in the garage and stuff. And I'm like, huh, okay, I'm 5'2", you know, whatever. And I say 4 inches because I'm like, okay, maybe I was 5'6" and not 5'7". And then Justin came home, and Justin's like, they told me at the doctor's that I'm shorter than I think. Come measure me, Mom. So I measured him, and he's shorter too. I'm like, what the hell happened in Arizona that made us all shorter? Oh, yeah. See, I think it's a spinal compression. I'll know more. I have an appointment for a mammogram and a bone density test. Now, because of my milk allergy, it's possible. I do take vitamin C, vitamin D, and all this other stuff because of my lack of milk nutrients and sitting outside in the sun. So I'm thinking that either my spine is compressed because I like to sleep in the fetal position now. So maybe I'm doing something to compress my spine. I don't know. But I've often thought that I need the thing to go upside down and be stretched. Came back with a bowl of beans and pasta. That will not quench your thirst. No, but it's good. Yeah, and I know it's normal to shrink an inch, and my grandmother had osteoporosis and she had the hump and everything. And I already know that I have, like, when I look at the back of my hands, I see my grandma's hands and stuff. But I thought, wow, that is really a lot of inches to lose in a small amount of time. Carnivore's a little harder for me because I have the allergist said a high sensitivity or a low allergy to like beef. I can't eat a lot of beef. I love like beans and some chicken and burritos and stuff like that. But again, I can only put so much in me. Like tonight, I have butternut squash soup, but I think tonight I might want to make some bean hummus, and that'll be my dinner because I can't eat like if I have any type of burger, turkey burger, bean burger, beef burger, vegan burger, if I have a burger that fills me up, I can't eat anything else like a salad or fries or anything. So I can't seem to get enough into me. So I have to be really careful. Yeah, I've seen a neurologist because of the issues. I've been to a neurologist and pain management and all of that since January of 2011 is when I got injured the first time. Well, I don't jump a lot. So I don't know because I know like my balance isn't as good as it used to be. So I have to be, I'm careful, right? My phone's constantly telling me that my balance is worse than it was, last week or something like that. I'm like, gee, phone, thank you. And I know it's right because normally when I go to like the stores, I walk on the curb and stuff just to keep my balance going. But I think it's just something to do with the nerves. I need to find the match to this, so I'm just gonna play. I'm gonna play the matching game like we did as kids. I have a video to make your own matching game, by the way. I don't know. Things just and you fix one thing and I swear another thing starts to break. My grandfather said that one day you just wake up old, and once you wake up with that one little crick and that one little ailment, watch out because it's a snowball effect and everything will just start falling apart at that point. So this one goes there. I love this blue fabric for some reason. I like this one too. You see, matching game. This is good for your brain too. I eat a protein-based diet, no keto or carnivore, but I don't eat more than 50 carbs a day. I do eat more towards a plant-based diet, but I have to be careful if I can't get enough protein doing that. So I need to make sure when I looked it up one time years ago, I eat a flexitarian. So most days I eat plant-based or vegetarian, but I do eat meat a few times a week. So that gives you the flexitarian. I've always been that way my whole life. I've always enjoyed salads and vegetables and stuff like that over meat. I did the proper thing where you only eat a small amount of meat and the rest of your plate is vegetables and stuff. I can't seem to, like, bananas always end up in the freezer before I can eat a whole bunch. I bought a big box of grapes from Sam's Club recently and I ended up throwing some away at the end because I just couldn't eat them all and they weren't good enough to put in the freezer. Let me play catch up. Life keeps us upside down, right? So you don't want to hang upside down, right? Oh, so Terry, yep. Yeah, I've never heard of a brachial plexus before, but that's like where all the nerves come right together in a certain area. Right? Thank goodness our boat is still floating. That's all that really matters. Every morning I wake up, I'm very grateful to wake up. especially now since I'm sleeping so deeply that when I do make it through the night without having to get up to go to the bathroom, it's quite rare because the cats will wake me up too. All right, that's a gingerbread. Did I put that on the wrong one? Some of these I have duplicates of. Let me start sewing the ones I already have so we're not just sitting here playing the matching game. Gravity will definitely, plus if your bone density is not very good, it's going to shrink a little too. I'll know on my appointment's like December 30th because I wanted to do them both at the same time. I'm a little nervous. Has anyone had a bone density? I'm a bit claustrophobic. But the receptionist that I called for my appointment, she says it's kind of like like a CAT scan. It's a machine that moves across you, which would be nice. I don't eat a lot of carbs, but I do tend to eat more. Well, I shouldn't say that because I do eat pretzel sticks as a snack at night before bed, so my stomach's not empty. But I don't eat a ton of pasta, and I do get in little kicks of bread, especially in the winter with soups and stuff. But I try to be careful. I try to be balanced, but my diet's not horrible, but I know I'm not getting everything I need. Yeah. I have fish in my freezer, and I know it's the tilapia from Walmart, and that's not the best thing anyways, but I made fish sticks and fish patties once where you take the fish and you put it in the food processor and then make your fish sticks and patties that way, and it's so good. I just haven't had the ambition to actually do it to make it like that. This fish is really good. I used to eat a lot of crab in Florida too, like regular crab and garlic crab, and fish was a huge thing down there. I also learned that I can't handle nightshades, the peppers and like white potatoes. When I stopped having these things regularly, I noticed here specifically that by eating white French fries or mashed potatoes, that it really causes inflammation for me. That's good, Giovanna. That's really good. Now, sushi becomes an issue for me if, like, I want to start making, I guess they're like California rolls and stuff, but I can't have soy. Now, I can have some like soy lecithin because after the allergy shots, it helped with that little bit, but I can't have tofu and soy sauce. So I don't eat out. I don't eat at fast food restaurants. I don't eat at any restaurants. I can go to Subway and get a certain bread and have like the sandwich as a salad, or I mean without the bread, and have like the cold meat on a salad, but I haven't done that in forever. So anything that I consume has to be made at home because milk and soy, which is good, it's really good. Laura, was it a bad test? A bone density test, Lee Island is easy, no claustrophobia. Thank you. So I can worry about something else then, right? It's after Christmas. I don't have to worry about it yet. And thankfully, it's in like Sun City West. It's all together in one area. Like I just go from doctor to doctor to doctor, and it's all like in the same plaza and stuff. It's kind of neat how that worked out here. That's good to hear, Alan, because, yeah. Yeah, I like to make, right now my freezer just has, now I said that I struggle with beef, right? But I can eat it like once a week. Like I have one burger patty. That's why it's more of a sensitivity than a full-on allergy. I have beef cubes in the freezer, like for beef stew and stuff, but I really keep it limited. So there's only one thing that's actually in my freezer right now that's a prepared meal, and that's rice, white rice, and veggies. And they have these chicken sausages, chicken and apple sausages that are pre-cooked that I really enjoy. And then I just cut it up really thin in the coin shaped, and I just add it to that. I don't need a lot of meat. I'll just more veggies than meat, and at least it helps the budget too. Yeah, nightshades, oof, they're tough. Yeah, they cause a lot of inflammation. I mean, I find that for me, maybe it's because of where I carry my weight and stuff, and maybe it's just because it's around my belly that I notice it, but it causes a lot of abdominal bloating. Now, I could just eat one order of homemade French fries. Just sometimes I like to have French fries for the meal, and that's it, right? Sometimes at night, I just have popcorn for dinner. That's why I have my big meal at lunchtime, and I can have like a small lunch at dinner so it doesn't sit in my gut when I go to bed. Man, I had the mashed potatoes one time, and I had it each night, and oh, it really messed me up. I can see where it would affect anyone with arthritis. But you don't know those things. You don't notice them until like you stop eating it. Like smokers don't know how bad they smell until they stop smoking, and then they're around other smokers and they're like, oh, it smells so bad. Excellent, that's good. Hopefully I don't have to do any type of dye either, because if they end up doing, I am allergic to the iodine, which that's like the only reason I really keep my medical alert bracelet on, because if I get into, God forbid, I get into a car accident and they do a CAT scan, I have to have large doses of Benadryl to be able to have that done. It's because, Giovanna, you're so special. Nightshades are like peppers, like green peppers, red peppers, orange peppers, white potatoes, eggplant. It's a really common issue for people to have, and consuming it causes a lot of inflammation. You can do a quick search and it pops right up. Yeah, it's just so much easier. Plus, at the end of the day, I have, with everything else, you know, acid reflux and stuff. Plus, I think my stomach just drains a little slower. And by the end of the day, if I don't have breakfast anymore, I just have the meal replacement drink. And then a lunchtime, a noontime meal. And I usually need a little snack, you know, a handful of grapes or something around 2, 3 o'clock. So then by time 4 or 5 o'clock comes around, I'm not super hungry. So just something small, a bowl of cereal. Sometimes I'll have eggs, popcorn, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I take the vitamin D3. Tests with contrast are horrible. The contrast is horrible. It always goes right to your GROIN. I don't know if we can say that on YouTube without getting in trouble. It's been long enough in the stream. We should be okay to say groin, and it makes you feel like you've urinated on yourself, and then it's got to come out of your body eventually. My grandparents are the ones that taught me to have the meal in the afternoon, you know, for your lunch. My grandparents called it supper at noon and dinner at night or something. I don't remember. But I grew up eating my last meal at 4 p.m. because my grandfather had to be to work at Uniroyal factory at like 4 a.m. So we all ate together as a family. Yeah, they're not fun. So if they don't have to do it, then they don't do it for me. I get hives everywhere and my lips swell up and my throat starts to close a little, you know, a little touch of anaphylaxis there. So I avoid it. I was surprised that when I went to the cardiologist, it's this really huge place here, and they put you in these little tiny rooms, like smaller than a bathroom, like a bathroom without a shower and stuff. And they do an EKG and get your blood pressure and all of that, but they use latex gloves. And I have it marked down that I'm allergic to latex. And they use latex gloves. And I left there and having to take a Benadryl because, I mean, it's crazy. They put you in these tiny rooms. I can't believe anyone still uses latex. Even if not for the patients, I know constant use of latex by the medical staff will create a latex allergy or sensitivity for them. I'll give you a little hint. I always laugh when I think about it. Rob and I found out originally about my latex issues after I had my daughter, and we couldn't go on birth control right away, so we had to use other sources that were made from latex. And then one day I blew up a balloon for the kids, and my lips swelled right up. It was crazy. So just like Publix grocery store back in Florida, they have the latex balloons blown up for the kids. So I need to make sure, like just walking into Publix, I could tell. She put her gloves like near my face and everything, and I said, I smell latex. And she hesitated, and she's like, yeah, I'm just not touching you very much. I'm like, after I told you that if latex is in the air, that it makes my lips swell and my throat close up, you're going to be just like, I'm just not going to touch you very much? Like, you're crazy. Yeah, Giovanna, it does make a difference, right? They put so much crap into our food. I'm I can tell latex because it's an anaphylactic swelling type thing. Like when you put a Band-Aid on me, it just eats right through the skin and I get like a raw spot from the Band-Aid. Um, if it's in the air though, like when people put their gloves on and off and stuff, that makes my lips and my eyes and my throat swell up. But after all this time, I can taste latex. I can smell latex. Like pool floaties, there's a certain smell to it that you just know. So I'm really cautious about it, and I keep Benadryl like in my purse and well when I have a backpack and stuff and in my car because you just never know when you're going to run into these things. Once I left the dentist, it looked like they beat me up. Yeah, it's like you put it in the chart, you tell them about it, they ask if you have any allergies, you tell them the allergies, and the dentists I thought were the last holdouts for the latex gloves. They have the good gloves now that still snap and stretch, and the ones without that powder, because the powder is an issue too for people. Yeah, I'm really careful. If there's a bunch of balloons blown up or something, I'm like, nope, I'm out of here. Some people are just allergic to some crazy stuff, Giovanna, when you get into like the allergy groups on Facebook or just, you hear about it on Instagram and stuff. They're just some random things that people could be allergic to. Giovanna's ditching us again. Yes. My son Justin, I think he has a latex sensitivity or something too, because when he eats a banana, he has a shellfish allergy. But when he eats a banana, he gets that tingly tickly feeling on like your gums and then on his lips and stuff. So he either has to have a very ripe banana. Now, my allergist down in Florida that I did the allergy shots with, and I saw him for years, he said, it's like a crossover allergy. So because of the latex allergy, I can't eat. It's a protein in the raw foods. I can't eat raw celery or carrots. If I touch it, that's when I get the eczema flare up. And eczema is connected to allergies and asthma. So if you have an allergy to latex, then like I can't eat tropical fruits, kiwis, bananas, cherries. There's just a whole list of things. But once you cook it just a little bit, it kills that protein and then you're able to eat it. So it's crazy. That's a rubber tree allergy, yeah. You have to put the babies to bed. Oh, good night to the babies. Yeah, you have to be careful, especially if they're not fully ripe. So depending on your sensitivity to it and how severe your allergies are, some people can eat a very ripe banana, so it must change the proteins a little bit. So Justin I know he has to have more because he's just never been tested, but we know he has a shellfish allergy because when he ate shrimp and stuff, his face got all blotchy and he just kept eating it even though he knew he shouldn't as a teen and an adult and stuff. So he has the shellfish issue, and the more you eat it, the worse the allergy gets. He also has an issue. I'm allergic to cats and dogs, horses, chickens. And we know he is also because he can pet the cats, but if he pets them too much or they rub up against his face, his eyes swell and his face gets all blotchy and all of that stuff. So allergies are crazy. There's all these different crossovers to it. Peaches, what is that to, right? Wow, that's crazy. Birch trees. Yeah, everything seems to, there's like this family of things where you have one thing. I go up and down. It's really strange, Mary, with the lettuce. There was a while that, like, I don't touch raw lettuce. I have to wear gloves when I prepare a salad. But there was a while that not only did the eczema break out on my hands, but my mouth would swell up from the lettuce, and then it would go away. So I can eat lettuce right now, but at any given time, it might start making my tongue itch. So it's got to be a crossover from something else. Yeah, I have 3 cats in my room right now, but I did allergy shots for over 2.5 years, and it helped with a lot of the mold, the pine. There's this thing called Melaleuca trees in Florida that they were from another country, and they've cleared most of them out, but they smell like mashed potatoes and stuff, and we have a lot of problems with that. So it's nice not to have the pine trees here. So it does help with some allergies. Yeah, because sometimes it's a swelling, an oral, a headache, and other times, like for me, for some reason, it's got to have something to do with the proteins again. If the kids during Thanksgiving to slice cheese, like a brick of cheese, or to shred it, my eyes will swell closed. My nose will run. It'll be all kinds of problems. Because I have a cross-contamination issue with milk. But if they're eating ice cream, I'm scooping out ice cream, I'm doing whatever, the cheese itself, just being in the kitchen with them when they're shredding their cheese, causes problems for me. All right. It's got to be because of the way you're pulling all the different things out, and it's a high concentration of the dairy. So let me see. I need these still. It's almost 1:30, or it's just a couple minutes off. So we probably should be finishing up. Yeah, I didn't get I had 2 children, and when I had my youngest when I was 30 is when I had the allergies to milk show up. I tell my son it's all his fault. And it was my punishment for having one more child. So this one I have to be careful when I put it on the tree because of the ho, ho, ho. So I need this. And then I need the green gingerbread men. Fast as fast can be, you'll never catch me. And I have to remember to put, oh no, Jackie, is it raining? Oh, it looks like the bricks out back might be a little wet. Sky's starting to look gray. It's been really interesting because in Florida, the power goes out all the time down in Southwest Florida. You know, this, you can look out, there might not even be a storm, and it would go out from, you know, the neighborhoods next door or something like that. Here, you know, knock on wood, we lost power a couple times, but not long enough to, you know, totally freak out. And also, we lost water once because they were working on the lines or something. Yeah, the allergy shots, I had to stop. I couldn't do the full 5 years that what they wanted me to do because we couldn't get past the, it would create an asthma attack all the time, every time I went in, because I was going in, it was like every week or every 2 weeks. Robbie's 26, and I know he was 5 years old at one point when I was doing it. So we had to stop, but it's made a huge difference. I don't have the eye reactions like I used to, so my eyes don't water and swell up. I don't sneeze as much. So I'm grateful for what little relief I did get. It's hard sometimes to figure out what's causing things because like you have to stop it for a while, you know, 2 weeks or a month, and then slowly bring things back in, whether it's environmental or food. It makes it hard. Just sprinkling and you lost power? Crazy. Thanks, Mary. You too. I'm just going to sew this one and the next one, and then I want to get up and I'll turn off the live stream. Thank you guys. Ooh, I think I saw lightning. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. We will go live again next week, but it won't be on Saturday. I don't know yet what day of the week it'll be. I don't know what my schedule is and what I'll be working on because I have, you have to start, like I said, doing the Advent videos and all of that. So I really appreciate everyone hanging out and commiserating with us. Oh, that's the AC running. It sounds like rain. So enjoy your week. If we don't see you again, happy Thanksgiving. And I think that's it. And don't forget whatever you went into the kitchen for. I find it really helpful just to say water, water, water while you're walking. And there's that phenomenon that if you go through a doorway, you'll lose the thought of the memory of what you were going for. So if you walk back out through the doorway, and you'll usually remember what you were looking for.